he's going to be better. He got to be better. He understands that. This team understands that. Shoot, you even know that. Like, that's why I think it's like, bro, we're all on the same page with this. You got the
I just can't believe. Here's the thing to me. I just can't believe the response from yesterday's game from everyone saying that Kenny ain't it and it's time to start Mason, because that was perhaps our worst O-line performance all year. Like, really bad. And then I think that was it might have been Canada's worst game all year too, with some of the play calling and schematics. Now, Kenny didn't do himself favors, because I will admit I didn't like some of the checkdowns. I think he checked down a little too early, and I would have liked a little bit more playmaking. Like, those were the two things I took away that Kenny could have done better. But at the same time, there were, like you mentioned with some of these screenplays, there were like probably 4 or 5 wasted plays there, a couple balls batted at the line of scrimmage, and then did we have a drop or two? I can't remember. But no, there was okay, yeah, outside of the screenplays, there was probably 4 or 5 dropbacks that within a second or two, dude's under duress, running around and has to literally throw it away. So that goes as incomplete. Dude only passed, I think, 28 times. So if you add all that up, that's like 10 or 11 plays right there. They're just, those are lost. Yeah. Right? But then the ones that he did have an opportunity, I do think got the ball out a little bit too quick at times on checkdowns. And maybe there's a play or two where he was scrambling. I would have liked to seen a play made. But, like, to just say Kenny ain't it from that, like, I would actually point to the Jaguars game on some of his misses in the Titans game and say those were worse Kenny misses, games. Yeah. They were better offensive performances as a whole, but I thought Kenny probably played worse in those games and just what he left out there on the table. I don't think we gave him much to work with in this Browns game.
Well, we also, and this is what I was kind of referring to when we talked about just because the backup quarterback was playing for the Browns, I do think it changed expectations for our offense. When this whole time, we're not playing against the backup defense. We playing against Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and company over there. And we know they're a productive group. We know that they're one of the top defenses in this league right now. Specifically,
they're more healthy than us, too, on
and
defense.
That's the other part. So when I think of that, it's like, man, we could not forget that element. That was never going to change. We were going to be in for a dogfight, no different than the first time we went up against them. The big difference was just the ending of it in terms of the execution or the lack thereof in certain situations. But as a whole, man, quarterback is going to be better. Has to be better. If not, then yeah, we know off-season changes happen, or at least competition is brought in. But that's not happening off of that performance yesterday, because to me, like you said, Titans, you could definitely make the case, was worse in terms of just like the routine.
Yeah, we could have easily had 30 points.
Yes.
But we won. We put up 20 points as an offense. So I think it goes overlooked. I think it's just because the offense looked as it did as a whole. Yeah. People were searching for answers and looking to point to people. But if you just literally watch the game, I don't think Kenny had much, man, like on a consistent basis.
To it, and this is the thing. There are things that were not in Kenny's favor. The other part is the expectations of how people perceive Kenny. And this is what me and you have went back and forth on, where it's like one moment he's top 3. Next moment it's, finish out the game, clutch performance. That's all I care about. I don't care about the stats. And that's a wide gap in between. So you get half the people that would understand that, hey, man, it was just this particular part of the game where he didn't finish. But there were still other parts where it's like, all right, man, we've seen him play worse than that. Like, we not tripping on that. But then it's the other people that are going to say, if we're viewing him as a franchise quarterback, a QB1, he can't be one throw from Deontay Johnson at the end of the game away from ending 4 quarters of football as a starting quarterback with less than 100 yards passing. That's the part where they're like, yo, those things can't be the same, especially when we look at Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill, and we turn our nose up at those type of quarterbacks. And it's like, man, we don't see a lot of those performances from them. That's the part where when we're looking at Kenny, it's like, man, we're not saying that you can't be that, but you're not consistently doing that. And I think that's more of the issue of why people feel so strong about Kenny. It's because it's like one moment we're like, yo, we feel great. We good. We got our guy. Then the next one we're like, bro, what are you looking at, man? He's wide open. But that's also when you're young. That's what you got to raise, your floor. So that way you're a lot more consistent and it's not this big drop off. But unfortunately for him right now, that's what he's struggling to do. And it's just so happened that you playing on a contender where we're sitting at 6-3 going into this matchup. And we're like, man, we should literally be on a 4-game winning streak, turn this thing to 10-3. and be talking way different talk. But instead, we're like, yo, we lost to DTR, and now we got another backup quarterback coming up next week. Are we about to have the same scenario? Which version is going to show up? That's all this is, though, man. It's a game we should have won. So when you lose them type of games, everybody reacts.
Yeah, and I get that because my expectations for Kenny coming in, and even throughout the season, getting to see those fourth quarter performances that he's put on made me or enabled me to gloss over some of the other stuff because I do weigh that a little bit different than everything else that happens throughout the course of the game. It is what it is. So for him not to deliver that yesterday in the fourth, it is a little disappointing. And then whenever you combine it with the misses he has had in the Packers game or also in the Titans game, even the Jaguars game. No. So, he's just not playing that good a ball right now, unfortunately. But the thing I can hang my hat on is the things I have seen from Kenny in totality and coming up clutch in these game-winning drives more often than not. And also I've seen him make all these throws.
Well, and I was going to say, that is part of the saving grace.
He's very capable of doing all this,
I think it's a different conversation if we've never seen him make these plays, if we've never seen him produce in the clutch, and if we were not sitting at 6-4 on top of all this stuff. I mean, how many times have we been told that Kenny's terrible, Matt Canada's terrible, our team is terrible, Coach Tomlin's terrible, the defense sucks, but yet we're still sitting at 6-4. So to me, it's like, yes, did yesterday suck to an extent? Absolutely. Were there times we were all pissed off? Absolutely. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, man, your overall, since you've been here, has been more winning than losing. Let's see where you can continue to grow to. And like I said, my message from early off season, early in season, bye week to even now is the same. Let's see what this season looks like with him and Matt Canada before we start doing long-term decisions while we're in the middle of an evaluation. Now, are we getting to the back end of this thing? Yeah, to an extent, we are getting a larger sample size, and that's why you get the people that, pull up the comparison, Zach Wilson, or then they'll pull up, this guy, and they're like, well, man, his numbers, this and that over this many starts. Oh, this doesn't look good. This young guy got more passing touchdowns. It's like, yo, this is what he's opened himself up to. But he still got how many games left in the regular season, right? You still got a 7-piece. A lot can change in terms of the narrative around Kenny Pickett. A lot can change with the narrative around this offense during these next 7 games. Now it's going to be up to him. It's going to be up to Matt Canada and company to make that happen. And I think if they want to keep their jobs long term, this is the run they're going to have to make. But I don't think that means, it's the end of the world. I just think kind of like what Bill Cowher said, man. Coach Cowher said, what? Y'all made it easy. We know exactly what we need now. You guys on offense, man, we know what we need. Kenny. Yo, you got 7 games, man. If you don't want them to bring another quarterback in here, a legitimate guy to either they turn the reins over to or legit compete with, you better step up these last 7 games, man. Because that's what it's going to shift to. They're going to start having them conversations of, well, he's still our guy, but let's get in somebody to push him. We've seen it with Drew Lock. We've seen it with Josh Rosen. I mean, we can go down the list of all these quarterbacks we've seen, that were deemed as first rounders or QB1 or potential franchise quarterbacks that eventually got passed up on, man.
No matter what, if the offense does continue like this, and just ultimately is a disappointment when the end of the season comes, like I want to see Kenny without Matt Canada. It's as simple as that. I want to see that. Now, to your point, if you want to bring in another coordinator, well, like so be it. Whatever. Just give Kenny a chance with another coordinator. That's all I'm asking.
Because see, I think for the people that are in Kenny's corner, they say give Kenny a chance with another coordinator. For the people that are in Matt Canada's, they say give me Matt Canada with a better quarterback. You had 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, Mitch Trubisky, who everybody says sucked, and Kenny Pickett, who people say sucks. So I think for both parties, it's like, I don't know who is who. But I also said that earlier, too, in the sense of like, yo, if you can't tell if it's more on coach or quarterback, and it's this type of scenario where neither has had success here where you got a lot of skin in the game, I think you do hard reset on both.
I guess you could say, though, you have more skin in on Kenny just being a first-round pick as opposed to Canada.
I mean, sure. But at the same time, the same way people are getting a little bit upset about us keep giving 22 opportunities over 30.
Oh, trust me.
Part of that is because it's a first-rounder.
How much have you seen the social media stuff recently?
I haven't seen a ton of it, bro. I haven't seen a ton of it.
It's 95% get Kenny out of here right
Okay,
now.
I must have not seen a lot of it, bro.
Yeah, like no one wants to hear from me right now.
No.
City's turned on me again.
You the villain?
Oh yeah.
You Dylan Brooks? They said Dylan Brooks the new villain out here, man. I didn't know if you was the villain like Dylan Brooks, man.
No, not like that. No, I'm the hero. It's almost like Batman.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. You've lived long enough to become the villain. Excuse me now.
Yeah, it's like Batman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's happened again. First is, in Ben's last season, whenever I was still defending him, whenever we got off to like that 1-4 start, I said we're still going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And with Kenny, I get it. He's not as proven as Ben, but I do think he's got it, man. I truly do. And I don't think he was set up for the best of success yesterday. I'm not saying he played good. Trust me, I'm not. But I would like to see him under different circumstances. Now, I know that's not going to happen, and I do think, going off of yesterday, that should be the low point for the offense.
That's how I feel.
That should be the low point going forward. Now, probably the lowest of lows was either that, Texans game, one of those first, 3 or 4 weeks.
Houston, but
for this second half, that should be the low point. That was probably the best defense we play rest of the way.
And we talked about
and we
that
still had a
also.
chance to win. That's the thing where I wake up, I rewatch the game again. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly how we've written it up almost every game this season.
Seriously, man.
Keep it close, fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Come through in the clutch.
We even got the clutch turnover. Everybody keeps saying, "How do y'all keep getting turnovers, bro?" It's not an accident, man. We absolutely
Thompson,
should have.
what the hell, bro?
This is what we do. We are gonna slowly choke you out, man. We gonna choke you out. That slow bull constrictor. That's our vibe, man. We not the quick strike artists. We not a head start artist, nah. But you see, we in every game. But with this approach, as we've said on multiple occasions, it's just a small margin for error. If one thing, whether it's a turnover or in this case, 2 wasted opportunities a little bit later in the game in terms of those drives, that's the difference between us getting out of that stadium or not.
Yeah, am I wrong? We're singing a different tune
1000%
today. If we get that
bro.
Final drive touchdown,
Listen,
we win 13-10.
It's 3rd and 2. We end up getting sacked on the play, and that was, I think, the one that really took us out of field goal range on one of them last 2 drives. That changes everything because now you're playing 13-10 and you're up.
I don't think anyone actually thought DTR would take the ball down the field, final drive on us like that.
Think about it. It was a span from.
Oh, he was terrible.
He had that first. He had the first
terrible.
drive, which made sense, right? First time you're seeing him in stadium, athleticism, can throw, can run. They did a good job in terms of their play action pass. We weren't stopping the run those first 2 drives, so it made sense. But then we started to catch up on it, and I love what Patrick Peterson did. I thought he had another dope game 2 weeks now back to back where he's been playing really well. Outside corner, slot corner, and safety. Dropped the film session on him too, man, the other day, highlighting some of that stuff. But to me, it was a part in that second quarter where he picked up on they are not attacking us vertically. They're attacking us laterally through the air. And he started to play more aggressive on those outbreaking routes. I thought in terms of Terrell Austin, he started to call more stuff where the corners were going to be in the flats more. And it really mitigated what they were trying to do in terms of getting the ball out fast. I think they showed the stat was like 2.1 seconds they were getting the ball out, which is insanely fast. But when you realize that, it's like, we don't have to guard them with this type of respect. We can play this type of way. And that was why that offense for them died for second, third, and the majority of the fourth quarter until the third time they got that opportunity. And at this level, this is the NFL, man. If you keep giving teams opportunities, eventually they are going to be able to do enough to get in position to score. Then we can make the case on how you feel about the illegal procedure that they called on Keanu for the fake,
We should have never let him go down the field.
You know what I mean? But it's like, does that change it a little bit of a kick? Sure, but at this level, teams are good enough. If you keep giving them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, they're going to make a play here or there. And that's what I thought happened at the end, even on that. But I definitely was not thinking he was really going to be able to get fluky or even in joke. I'm like, bro, you done dropped all these other ones. Now you want to catch one? Like, come on, man. Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The top-rated sportsbooking app in North America. Safe, secure, and more importantly, it is reliable. We use it. We are users of the app. But whenever we're talking about anything on this channel, we typically have promo codes or something for the consumer, which is you guys. All right. So if it's your first time using the DraftKings Sportsbook app and you download that thing, okay, well, it's time to put that first initial bet in. Minimum of $5. But if you do that and place the promo code MOATS, when you do that, you will receive up to $200 in free bets. I mean, it's a dope concept, man. It's one of the things that, I definitely like for myself. But at the same time, I can understand that not everybody is capable of living that DraftKings Sportsbook life. Some people may have it or may know somebody that has a gambling problem, might be in need of crisis counseling or even referral services. And for certain people that live in New York, it's a number you could text or call. But for everybody else, the number to dial is 1-800-GAMBLER. I said 1-800-GAMBLER.